All right, we ready?
Yep. Maybe you could make the text a little bigger. Hopi. Oh, okay.
All right, we'd like to call to order the Mashpee School Committee business meeting here on March 6, 2024 to order at 6:02 p.m. First item is the Pledge of Allegiance. We have a flag whenever we're ready.
Yeah, do you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
everyone.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and
and
justice.
justice for all. Thank you. The Mashpee Public Schools also recognizes and honors the many generations of Wampanoag people who have lived and been sustained in this territory for more than 10,000 years. At this time, we'd be looking for a motion to ratify the agenda of March 6, 2024. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion. Oh,
Okay,
ahead.
there's a motion
second.
made. Okay, there's a motion made by member Don Myers, second by member Matthew Davis. Is there any discussion? Edits? Hearing none. Roll call vote, I guess. Don,
yes.
Matt,
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. Motion carries. Unanimous by all present. Next, is there any public comment?
And Brian, please put me down as a yes as well.
Oh, sorry, Dan.
That's
I was
okay.
looking at the agenda. Go ahead. Dan, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. That's what happens when I look at the agenda, not the screen in front of me. Okay, is there any public comment?
There's nothing on the Zoom.
Okay, moving on. The first item on the agenda is FY25 budget revisions. I believe the first item is the memo from the FinCom, followed by update with the budget narrative and then the budget summary sheet. So I'll turn it over to Patty and team.
Yeah, so I think, Hope, if you click on the memo, that's a good explanation. We did present our budget last Thursday night, the 29th of February, to the FinCom, and this was a budget that had been, that the Finance Working Group had met to discuss in terms of the requested reduction in the appropriation that we were asking from the town based on the conversation with town manager. So you can see in here, we presented an updated budget narrative that the school committee has yet to vote on, and that the documents reflect the collaboration with the town manager, Rodney Collins. Mr. Collins was originally seeking a $600,000 reduction in our appropriation request to the town for our FY25 Mashpee Public Schools budget. A meeting was held on the 29th earlier in the day that resulted in an agreed upon $300,000 reduction to what we are asking from the town. At this time, we are requesting $25,134,353 be appropriated by the town of Mashpee for the Mashpee Public Schools FY25. Let me just let Kathy in. Budget. This amount is a 3.20% increase over last year's appropriation, and it incorporates an offset of $957,228 from school choice program funds. So just as a recap, to get at the $300,000, $200,000 additional funding was taken from the school choice program funds. And then looking at the transportation line item and having a little bit more information on contracts, Director of Finance Lopes reduced that line item by $100,000, and that's where we ended up with the $300,000 reduction in what we're asking for from the town. So there were no changes to our personnel side of the budget or the operating side, except for the $100,000 reduction to transportation.
But just to clarify, the 200,000 in additional school choice funds was a additional 200,000 almost that we received from the state that we weren't expecting. So our floor didn't change, correct?
Right, the floor is still at the 250, which is what the school committee determined. But when we looked at the school choice program fund balance, that obviously is on the town side visible as well. And we took out all of the appropriated funds. Obviously, we all know that there's a large chunk going to offset this year's budget, the current year budget, next year's budget, and the HVAC project. There was an extra about 197, around 200,000 that had not currently been allocated that we are adding into next year's offset.
And Superintendent DeBoer, for the reduction in the transportation line, just to clarify, what would that mean from what will that mean with, like, are there any major impacts to routes or anything more?
Well, I'm going to let Ms. Lopes speak to that, but it's my understanding that it does not impact any of the routes or the number of buses we currently run. I mean, we're still looking at, unrelated to the budget, the whole late bus for the high school, but that's not, I don't think that's impacted by this. So I don't know, Ashley, if you want to speak to that.
Sure. So there are no changes in current services at all. The bus routes will not be impacted for financial reasons. We have no plans to make any changes for next year unless we see that there is something that could be advantageous to us. The transportation reduction came from both special education and also regular gen ed transportation. We have a shift in special education placement, so that cost was also reduced. So nothing to change any services to date. Just really, I had my best guess estimate when I made this budget for October, and I was able to get better numbers from the collaborative and have that reduction there.
Thank you for the clarity.
Do you want to move on to, well, we have the narrative, which I don't know that you necessarily, but you might want to look at the third item, which is the budget summary sheet, the cover sheet of our budget, where you can see, yeah, I might be able to, yeah, I can see. You can see the 957, $228 offset from school choice. And then if you were looking at the previous version that you voted on January 17th, you would notice that the transportation line item is $100,000 less than in that version. Any questions specific to same information we just talked about? And the narrative is just been updated to reflect, I guess you could go to the narrative. We can just show how we did present it. All of these items are also posted not only as part of this agenda, but under the finance tab of the school committee on the webpage. We have all of these updated numbers. It's very hard for me not to be the scroller. I will say that's very hard. Keep going.
Not as hard as it is to be your I have to say, because I'm very anxious.
I just want to make it work. And it's like, if you can
hold on. Now I just lost how to mute myself. Shoot. Please don't bark, dogs.
Well, there are
Okay,
multiple
where you
ways
want me to go,
to mute
Patty?
yourself open.
I'm going to try, but first tell me where you want me to go.
I just want you to go to this page. That third paragraph has been revamped to make sure we have captured it accurately in all of the numbers. And then if you flow through the, keep going, mainly down to the financial charts. Stop there. So this does reflect in that last column the higher amount that we're projecting to use from school choice, the amount of the request. I will say that from the January one or the previous, your version of the narrative, Ashley had firmer numbers in terms of Chapter 70, so that's slightly higher than our previous narrative included. You can keep going. So here you will see that the $200,000 additional that we're putting towards our budget is being shown here, reflecting against personnel. So we haven't changed what we're requesting, but in order to show what we're requesting from the town, we're showing that $200,000 reduction there. It does not represent a reduction in personnel. Keep going.
Superintendent DeBoer, it's Kathy. I have a quick question. Which of these will be in your weekly? What are you going to include these in your weekly emails to families? And if so,
Yes.
like, are you going to put the narrative or are you going to put that? I kind of like that chart, but I didn't know if you were going to do both or one over the other.
Well, so not that this is a test or anything, but last Friday's communication did include the agenda with all of the links this time, but we can specifically highlight in a more, prominent way information from tonight's meeting. And so, yes, we will include, I'll do a section that at least draws attention to the fact that we have updated, that you've revoted and what the new numbers are.
Yeah, I think even if you just did that chart, I feel like that's a pretty good, that way people can just see the numbers. That's my thought. I don't know if anybody else has thoughts, but I feel like that's a quick and easy way for families to see.
So the one page summary that we just looked at?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Not that. Yeah, this.
No. Actually, no, it was in the budget. Oh yeah, go up. Oh, I guess.
Oh,
In the narrative.
In the narrative, yes, it came after. Yeah. Oh, she just, I think, passed it.
It was.
Yeah, she's way past it.
No, she's getting there.
Okay.
That one or?
Yes, that one.
This one, the personnel?
Yeah. Which one? Whatever one's the overall, I guess.
Oh, the back, go up a little bit, Hope.
Yeah, the one that's up a little bit.
Right there.
Yes, that one. Yeah, just because I feel like that gives the whole numbers for people to see adjustments. And like you said, the links were there and I saw the links this past Friday, but I think if people, don't want to click, at least that's there and they can see. But
yeah, because I want everyone to understand that the revised budget that hopefully you're voting on tonight, there's $100,000 reduction in transportation, but that's all we reduced to meet the request of the town manager. We had additional funds so that the appropriation to the town is less, but we didn't, for those out there, we did not cut our budget by 300,000. We basically cut it by 100,000. So the rest of the narrative just incorporates the new numbers in terms of the charts. If you go, so those have been updated. This one, stop. Oh, okay. This, the operating side, you can see the reduction from school choice program is the 757, which taken with the 200 that you saw going against personnel comes up to the 957. And then the transportation line above is reduced 100,000 from the previous version of the narrative.
So I have a quick question. So in the past, if we didn't utilize all of the school choice funds, they stayed with the school, but we never had school choice funds going against the payroll side. What would happen in this case?
And historically, no, we haven't had payroll go against it. However, it's the same process as if it was a general expenditure. There are payroll lines in school choice. So it's just like a normal procedure. It would be as though you're using a revolving account or a grant fund to pay for salaries.
Right, but would school choice funds be spent first versus appropriation? Or is only after appropriation was used up?
I don't know if Ashley's going to answer that.
Go ahead.
Our general practice from multiple years has generally been to look at the appropriation first.
That's what I would assume.
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page.
You're so cryptic. Yes, that is what we do.
Well, we haven't had it against the payroll, so that's why I was asking, because
Not yet.
in the past, if we had a surplus on the appropriation side, we turned that back to the town.
Yep.
So that's why I was wondering if we were applying choice funds first, and if that created a surplus on the appropriation, then that would go back to the town. But you're telling me will utilize the appropriation first and then backfill with the school choice funds, correct?
Yes, and then generally, historically, we have turned back funding to the town as well.
Right, but if we spent 100% of the appropriation and none of the school choice funds, the school choice funds would revert back to school choice, not to the town, correct?
That is correct, but if that is the scenario, we are not very good budgeters. Because nothing is matching with what we're saying, so let's not go that place.
No,
That's
it
not
just
the
means we're
scenario we
very,
expect.
we're very good.
Yes, we are very good budgeters.
Okay,
That is not an expectation, that scenario you just described.
I doubt it will happen, but just in case, I want to know what our plan is. So thank you.
Okay. Anyway, so that's the other piece of it. And then all the rest, like I said, the charts have all been adjusted to reflect the revision. And so tonight we would be looking for the school committee to to revote the new budget amount. I guess it's presented in that cover memo. Maybe that's easy to leave up in terms of someone who may potentially make a motion.
Yeah. Probably wise to put that memo back up.
It's
Does anyone
there.
else have any other
so
questions or comments before we move on? No? Okay, then I guess we'll entertain a motion. If anyone would like to put one forward.
I'll make a motion that we revise our request for the appropriation for FY25 to the amount of $25,134,353. And that this incorporates the utilization of $957,228 from school choice program funds. Let me revise that. Anticipates the incorporation of $957,228 from school choice funds.
I will second that motion.
Okay. Further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none. Call to vote. Dan,
I'm a yes.
Don,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and I also am a yes. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I think that leaves just that was kind of our big vote. I think we have one more motion. If anyone wants to make it, right? We don't have anything else. Right now.
So Kathy, you kind of, at
Correct.
least on my computer, she's buffering or something a lot.
Yeah.
Could someone else make whatever motion it is she's seeking?
Motion to adjourn at 6:21.
Can you hear me now? I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
No, I'm just Thank you, Brian. A second to that?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, Dan, how do you vote?
Yes, I vote yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. Thank you, everyone.